We can now bring in France 24's International Affairs editor, Armen, Georgian. Armen, great to see you as always. This Emmanuel Macron speech this Monday taking place as that war in Ukraine continues.
Yeah, and of course, Ukraine was very much a part of the speeches and very much in people's minds in the European Parliament on this Europe Day. But obviously, you've got the rhetoric on the one hand, you've got some practical realities on the other, a lot of sort of moral support verbally for Ukraine. And of course, yes, the EU has provided financial aid packages and so forth that it's going to continue doing. So I'm not saying it's only words, but the reality is there are some pretty tough decisions coming up for the EU on a possible oil embargo, which countries should be offered exemptions, how long should for example, Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria, what speed, Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, what speeds should these countries move towards phasing out Russian oil imports? This is all still the subject of ongoing discussions. There are also some big deadlines coming up later this month, around May the 19th or 20th, I believe, by which point European energy companies have to start paying Gazprom in rubles as per the Russian demand. Most EU member states, of course, don't want to do that. They don't want to pay in rubles. The European Energy Commissioner has just warned that the EU doesn't have the reserves to simply find alternatives now if the gas were to be cut off completely at the end of this month. Now, of course, we are entering the summer in Europe, but nonetheless, there hasn't been really a very clear long-term solution to these issues, both on the point of oil and gas. And I think more broadly what we've seen, and today's speeches have really borne this out, is that Ukraine has really had an impact into people's ideas of what sort of Europe they want. So on the one hand, you've got the more federally minded Europeans like Emmanuel Macron, Guy Verhofstadt, Ursula von der Leyen, Roberta Metsola, up to a point as well, the head of the European Parliament, all today arguing for more Europe. That means, for example, getting rid of some national vetoes. What would the Hungarian government think about that if it was about to be outvoted on a question of key, crucial, vital national interests, such as energy imports?
Because aren't they paying for gas in rubles anyways, Hungary?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But, the idea of being outvoted on key national areas, that is a sort of at least indirect impact of this war in Ukraine in terms of those who want more Europe and those, we've heard that from one of your guests, particularly in some Eastern European countries and Central European countries, that see the EU not as the kind of supranational or federal or project of that kind, but more a nation-state-based project of nation-states cooperating. So in that sense, the Ukraine crisis clearly is speeding up these or putting more strains on these different ideas of what the European Union actually should be in the future.
And Armen, very briefly, Emmanuel Macron is going to be going to Berlin today in a few hours' time in his first visit overseas after winning re-election. Clearly, he needs Berlin's backing for any of this change to happen, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. And, there might be a bit of a deja vu here where back in 2017, I think it was when he gave the big the speech at the Sorbonne calling for far-reaching European reforms to the point of even suggesting a Eurozone economic government. And I think even a Eurozone parliament was suggested back then. That all fell through because he didn't have Germany supporting these projects, these very sort of far-reaching, many would say, federal projects for the Eurozone. So he's going to essentially try again to push that European agenda with Olaf Scholz, the German Chancellor. But we've already seen some cracks, for example, when it comes to defense. Again, rhetoric and reality. I was talking about that before. On the rhetoric, a lot of European leaders are saying, yes, we have to move forward with autonomous European defense because of what's happening in Ukraine. But then the reality is that Germany, for example, has just recently decided to buy American fighter jets to replace its own Tornado fleet rather than the French Rafale. So again, on the one hand, there's a lot of sort of nice talk about a closer European defense unity. In reality, countries do still make national decisions, even on defense, even amid the war in Ukraine.